Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time. Some say that Tom is like a giant among men. Others say he's a little obsessed.
I don't even have a top 10.
Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time.
Well, hi, I'm Tom Vasel. Welcome to another edition of the top 100 games of all time. Today we'll be doing numbers 81 through 90. And one of the things that people talk to me a lot about recording this 100 series is a lot of times there's a lot of new games that are in the series. And, you know, people say, well, you know, you add these new games and you forget about the old games. Well, that's true to some degree. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. One is because there's always new games coming out, and I think game design is getting better because they can build on older games. And also, I do tend to like newer stuff more than older stuff, although you'll find a lot of old games on the list. Well, that being said, let's get to it and see numbers 90 through 81. Here we go. Number 90 is Get Bit. Now, Get Bit is a game about sharks, and I really like, I hate sharks. I'm not going to go into the water if I know there's a shark around, but I do like the idea of this game. It's just silly fun with the plastic shark chasing a little plastic, I call them robots, ripping their arms and legs off. Mayday version is reprinting this game, and I'm really glad that they're doing that because I really enjoy it. It's a little fun filler, and it's one that I can always play with my friends and family. So if you can find a copy of this, and they're now much more readily available, I recommend you do it because it works with families. It's a good pickup game, and the actual physical act of ripping an arm off a little toy figure is just tremendously fun. So I have to recommend Get Bit.
Number 89, Conquest of Narath.
Number 89 is Conquest of Narath. Now, this is a brand new game to my list this year, and one of the things that, on your list, if you go over and look at the list of everyone else, there's Axis and Allies, and I'm always looking for an Axis and Allies type game. But I want some more variety than what actually, is in Axis and Allies. I want, like, variable powers, and there's not all of that in Conquest of Narath, but what Conquest of Narath does, that a lot of these other games don't do, is it takes the game and forces it to be faster, and that's something I really enjoy. I mean, beautiful scopes. I love to see an expansion that gave each person a special ability with this game, but just right now, it looks amazing. It plays quickly, you're right in each other's faces, it works great as a 4-player team game, 2-on-2, and I just have a great fun. I mean, the fantasy theme is neat. I could take it or leave it, but for now, it's something that I'm going to play quite a bit. So it's on my list, Conquest of Narath.
Number 88, Domain.
Now, Conquest of Narath is a new game, but this is a game that's been on my list now for all 6 years, and that's Domain. A lot of people think of Settlers of Catan when it comes to Klaus Teuber, and I understand because that certainly is a good game of his, and it's on my top 100 list. You saw that. But for me, Domain is a better game because it's just so in your face, but without, making people, well, maybe it does make some people cry. But Domain is just really, has this going at the other person type attitude where you're going to just, you're trying to build the kingdom, and it works. I mean, you have to play almost 4 players with this. As you're building your kingdom, expanding into other people's, and there's a little bit of a money system there, but it's very tight, and it's very different than most Euro games that are out in the market today. So I have a good time playing it. So Domain, check it out.
Number 87, Through the Desert.
Another game that's been on my list for the past 6 years is Through the Desert. Now it's kind of bounced around and it's dropped down a bit, and I guess it's probably because it is an abstract game. Yeah, it's about camel caravans in the desert. We're not kidding anybody. But it is a really good game. It's a game in which you're putting down, all you do on your turn is put down 2 camels, any colors you want, and you're connecting routes on the board, trying to make the longest of different colors, trying to connect and cut off sections of the board, almost like the classic game Go. Trying to get to different spots on the board that are worth points. And it's very easy, very simple, and yet it's very, very deep. So it's a game that I can easily teach people, but will likely win the first time I play them. But a great game nonetheless, Through the Desert.
Number 86, Glory to Rome.
The next game that I'm talking about is Glory to Rome. It's actually caused some controversy, and you might want to wonder, why is there controversy to this game? Is it because of something that the publisher has done? Is it because, you know, untoward stuff? No, it's because of the artwork. Now, I'm a big fan of the artwork in this game. I like the cartoony style of it, but I can understand that not everyone does, and besides, everyone tells me that I have horrific taste in games. But it doesn't really matter because they've just done a Kickstarter version of the game, one of the biggest in history, where they've done it with elegant graphics, so everyone's happy, right? And the thing is, it doesn't matter about the graphics. It's a great card game. The cards can be used in a variety of different ways. There's a decent amount of interaction to it. It's maybe not as polished as a game like Race for the Galaxy, but it's still a lot of fun with a good theme in it. So check it out, Glory to Rome.
Number 85, No Thanks.
The next game I feel like we talk about all the time, so do I really need to talk about it some more? And that's No Thanks, because it's one of those card games that I honestly really believe everybody should have in their game collection. You may not be a huge fan of it, but it's a game that you're going to be able to bring out to anybody, anytime, anywhere. Glory to Rome was, is a deep game that we just talked about, but No Thanks is simple. You simply put a chip out, or you take the card with all the chips on. Go check out my review if you don't know what I'm talking about. But it really is a fantastic, fun little filler game, and I have it always to play with people, but not just that. I also enjoy it. It's one of those games that I can play continually, which is good because I played it probably over 100 times. Fantastic game, No Thanks.
Number 84, Vegas Showdown.
Here's the first of two casino games that are almost back-to-back on my list, Vegas Showdown. Now, I really like Vegas Showdown. If it had better quality components, it would probably be higher on my list. It's one of the redone games from the new Avalon Hill, which probably makes wargamers cry still, but haha. Anyway, when I first played it, I didn't like it at all. But once I learned to play it better, I started enjoying it more. The whole idea of the game is to build a casino, but there's, it's laying tiles and it has some really good auctioning mechanics. Also found in Amun-Re. I probably like Amun-Re as a better game, but the same auction mixed with a much more better theme. That's grammatically incorrect, but who cares? All that put together makes for just an absolute fabulous game, one that I enjoy quite a bit. Putting it together, lots of laughter back and forth, and there's some event cards, but for the most part, it's just interesting to see how the casinos build themselves. So that's Vegas Showdown, and it's on my list.
Number 83, Survival.
At first I was afraid, I was petrified. Here's a new game from my list, but the game is by no means new. In fact, it's quite old. It's just the fact that this year a new reprint came out. And that game is called Survive. Stronghold Games reprinted it. And Survive is a game in which players are trying to get off an island as fast as they can without, the island is sinking, without getting killed by sharks and whales and sea monsters. Although now they're adding giant squid and an expansion. There's all kinds of cool things. Now, interestingly enough, this is a game that appears in all three lists, and I have it ranked the lowest, go figure. But I still very much enjoy it. It's, again, it's in the top 100 of all the games that I played. Survive. Fun for families, fun for gamers, fun for anybody. And it's really easy and simple. And I cannot tell you how much I like sinking someone's boat full of all their people and having them eaten by sharks. In real life, a tragedy. When it's you against me in gaming, hilarity.
Number 82, Lords of Vegas.
Vegas Showdown was new to the list last year, and for good reason. It's one of those games that does exactly what I'm looking for it to do and has this huge level of interaction and also has a bit of theme into it. The gambling theme is in the game, but don't let gambling scare you off because there's really a lot of strategy to it. Not to mention the whole thing has a nice production. I've always been a fan of Chinatown. Chinatown is no longer my top 100 games, mostly because this game has replaced it. It allows you to control different casinos on the board and make money and points from those, but you can also steal other people's casinos, which is something that I'm a big fan of. And so I hope that this game gets an expansion that allows it to play 5 or 6 players, but for now, that's its only flaw is that it goes up to 4. but I do enjoy it. It uses dice, something I'm a big fan of. Looks great, and yet has this high level of interaction. You're always busy, always thinking on everyone's turn. It's a great little game. Well, I guess not that little, but it's a great medium game, Lords of Vegas.
Number 81, On the Underground.
On the Underground is a game that appeared on my list last year, mostly because it was the first time I had played it. It's a game about the subways in London, and I would love to see some retheming of this for like Washington, D.C. or Seoul. Probably not going to happen, because this game is really only good with 2 or 3 people. Even though it goes higher than that, the game just becomes too, I just don't like it as much. It requires or has a lazy passenger who would rather ride subway trains out of his way than walk between them. And so it's almost like a robo-rally situation or a ricochet robot where this passenger is going to do certain things. So you need to build the right routes so that he will use your routes and get to the right city on time. It is an absolutely fabulous game, and it's a very strategic one. I very much enjoy it with, like I said, 2 or 3 players. So it makes my list. It's not one I get to play as much as I like to. But you know what? Now that we're talking about it, I think I'm going to play it very soon. So that's On the Underground. I love variety. I love variety in my foods. I love variety in my games. And so I highly recommend, when you look at these lists, it's going to be diverse. I fully expect no one to like all 100 games that are on my list. But at the same time, I try to have some of everything on it. I try to have some party games. I try to have some strategic games, some light war games. Sorry, the heavy war games aren't going to make it. But overall, I think the 100 games comes together to make a delicious dinner. Come back soon, check out Melody's list, check out your top 100 list. Each week, we'll get closer and closer. We are 20% of the way done. See you soon.
Tom Vasel's top 100 games of all time.
Number 84, Vegas Showdown. Showdown.